Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
Today's warehouse needs to keep inventory moving smoothly and quickly. Meet these challenges with on-demand warehouse labeling from Brother Mobile Solutions. Our mobile and industrial printers will help optimize your operations to achieve the speed, reliability, and durability your warehouse needs. With easy integration for existing warehouse technology, convenient portability, and upfront affordability, Brother Mobile Solutions is at your side when it comes to warehouse labeling. Try one for free today by visiting brothermobilesolutions.com/newwarehouse or click the link in the show notes. That's brothermobilesolutions.com/newwarehouse to try one for free today.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast here in the booth at Promat 2023. And I am joined this time by Daniel Aguirre.
Aguirre, you got
Aguirre.
it.
For some reason, I could not get this before we were talking. Yeah. So he is with Nucor Warehouse Systems, and we're going to talk a little bit about Nucor, what they do. First, we'll give a little brief overview, and then we'll talk a little bit about, too, how they're talking about sustainability and also a little bit from the safety side as well, which you guys know we love safety at the New Warehouse. So Daniel, welcome to the booth, first off. How are you doing day one here?
Doing well, Kevin. This is a great kickoff to Promat 2023, so I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. And it's a big show, right? So a lot going on, so it'll be interesting to see how the week goes by. But I'm happy you took the time to come by here in the morning on day one. So for people who haven't heard of Nucor, why don't you tell us a little bit about what it is you guys do?
Yeah, definitely. At the core, Nucor is the largest steel producer in North America. They have multiple product lines, over 300 locations in North America, about 31,000 teammates. And our division, Nucor Warehouse Systems, is focused more on the pallet racking side. We have 3 locations from California, Texas to Georgia. And we really are focused on being that one handshake, end-to-end solution provider in the warehouse space.
All right. And obviously, steel in the warehouse.
Yes.
We
plenty of it.
We kind of need it, right? So very good to have you on to talk about this, because I think that it's, especially as we look at, we see warehouses getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Constantly, or taller.
Yeah, and taller as well, right? So more steel we need there. So tell us a little bit about, from Nucor's perspective, like when you look at a show like this, what is the message that you guys are really trying to get out there as like a steel manufacturer?
Yeah, definitely. We're the most vertically integrated, steel manufacturer when it comes to pallet racking. So what we try to push, we're number one in safety. For example, just a quick data point, last year we had probably over 50 live projects with 0 recordables.
Right.
And then additionally to that is sustainability.
Yeah.
We're the vertically integrated, so we could go down to a warehouse, old racking that's been sitting there for 40 years, tear it down, utilize our DJJ, our scrap partner, to recycle that steel, create new racking, and reconfigure it to the most sustainable and the most optimized solution for that warehouse.
Interesting. So tell us a little bit about that from the sustainability perspective. So, what does that look like? They're recycling, they're melting down the steel? And
it's actually incredible. I would love for you to have and go to one of our Nucor divisions that actually melt down the steel.
Yeah, I love that.
Huge scrap yard, ton of machinery, grabbing cars and smashing it, anything you could think of that's steel related.
Wow.
Puts it in a huge melting pot. Some electric arc furnace, zaps it, melt it down into steel, and it's produced into a new coil that can be roll formed into new rack.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right, cool. So, is that something that you guys try to do, very often or as much as possible? Do you see a lot of companies, I guess, in that sense where, they have old racking, like you said, and they're looking to, bring in new racking or expand upon it or reconfigure. I mean, is that something that a lot of companies are like really interested in doing, is how can they preserve that and recycle?
Of course, yeah. I mean, it's definitely talking about like the top Fortune 500 type companies.
Yeah.
If you go to them, they either acquired a warehouse from a old company who let it go and has some old configurations of the rack that's been sitting there for 40 years.
Right.
We'll partner with those companies, extract that old rack, send it to our, as I mentioned, our DJJ partner, and reconfigure what is optimal for their products that they're storing in that warehouse. So it's really just a closed loop sustainability that we're offering. Yeah,
it's really interesting. And I'm curious, like, is there any, since you guys are not having to go out and get like new steel, right? I mean, for the company, is there any cost benefit there? Because it's like, you already have the steel, it's like existing, or...
I mean, it definitely helps our DJJ partner, right? The more scrap we can get in those facilities, the more steel we can make in North America for all of customers, not just NWS. So, it's definitely a benefit for us, and just pushing that sustainability point and being that one source to really be vertically integrated and offer that type of product or offering to the customer who wants to be more sustainable.
Step, step, step. Do you know how many steps your warehouse workers are taking a day? When your workers are walking, you're losing money. Endless trips to the printer or computer add up fast. Newcastle's mobile industrial carts with integrated power eliminate the walking to stationary printers and computers, keeping workers focused on high-value tasks, often doubling their output. Thousands of powered cart installations, including ones at the New Warehouse's own micro-fulfillment center and in my previous jobs, prove that Newcastle customers get more done and save money. To learn more, head to newcastlesys.com. That's newcastlesys.com. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. I was curious about that, and I mean, I think it's a great thing, because especially as we look at, the logistics and warehousing space, I think in a recent conversation I had with somebody, I don't know if this is the right data point, but something like, all the carbon emissions like in the world, like we're responsible for something like close to like 20%, I think, or somewhere around there.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
It seems like
in just our industry. So
I can see that.
Huge thing. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of that stuff going on. So the fact that you guys are taking that into consideration and trying to create other sustainability avenues that just make sense. I mean, it's very, very important. It's a very awesome thing that you guys are doing there. So along with that, you also mentioned in there that you guys are very, very safe, right?
Correct.
Which is a great thing. So talk to us a little bit about, your kind of your safety program and how that works to make sure that I think you said 50 live projects and 0 recordables. Like how do you make that happen?
Yeah, so we're definitely the safest rack manufacturer in North America with data points, whether it's internally at our plants or on site.
Wow.
And the way we really are striding for to being the number one safety provider when it comes to warehouse systems is our safety manual.
Yeah.
We're the first ones who actually created a safety manual for install work on site for multiple type of products. So we ensure that all of our installers are certified and follow that manual.
All right, very good. And I think that's like a great tip there, right? Is you can talk about being safe and this and that like over and over, but until you kind of like, it's just like having a process, right? If it's not documented, then it's not necessarily like it exists, right? It's just something you talk about. But once you put it into that documentation and you start to roll it out and people can digest it and reference it and understand it, like I think it goes a long way. So I mean, how important is that safety to the culture, and like how does that kind of resonate out to everybody that works for Nucor?
Yeah, definitely. I would say within Nucor's culture, that's number one, is being the safest steel company in the world. And we strive to that, and we have data points to prove it, and we want to take that step further and doing it on site for all of our customers and partners to ensure that everyone at that facility is going home safe.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a great thing, and that should transfer over into like the warehouse itself too, as a warehouse, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So now from a safety perspective too, I guess you mentioned kind of earlier in our conversation where you're talking about people are going higher too, right?
Definitely.
So oftentimes when we start to go very high, and you get loads, pallets way up in the sky, right?
And you start looking up, you're like, oh man.
Like, so how do you ensure, I guess, that the racking, as people want to go higher, that the integrity remains of that and the strength of the steel, and that safety aspect is still in play?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that goes straight from step one, right? Our engineering and design work, whether it's from a mill to ensure that delivering high quality raw material product to our facilities, all the way to the design work and engineering work we have on our team to design that racking and that warehouse to be safe as we travel up higher and higher.
I mean, I think it's really interesting, and especially as I've even seen where people are like raising the roofs of existing warehouses. Like it's pretty crazy, and I mean it makes sense, right? You want to utilize that cube as much as you can, but what are you seeing in terms of that? Like, how high are people really going?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen 125 feet, and in multiple different locations, some in high seismic, which is definitely you're pushing boundaries, which is great.
Yeah.
Luckily, as I mentioned before, we have multiple product offerings, so expertise in different product lines that go into, let's say, an ASR's rack supported building.
Yeah, interesting. That's super high too.
Yeah, it's incredible to see.
Yeah.
You kind of just see like a black box in the middle of a city. You're like, what is that thing? And you realize there's a full automated warehouse system that's going on right there in our neighborhood. So it's quite impressive.
Yeah, very interesting. And so, I mean, in that regard, what do you see? We look at a show like this, like it's all about like the latest and the greatest
definitely.
And everything. So I mean, from like a steel and like a racking standpoint, I'm curious, like how have you seen lately, or any trends in racking besides going super high, like that people are looking towards, especially as they're bringing in more automation and things into the warehouse. I mean, are people's requirements changing, or what's going on in the racking world?
I think just overall North America, when it comes to these warehouses, obviously we have plenty of land, but now we're kind of being more strategic with our land and where we're putting our facilities, being more efficient and thinking about the automation portion. I think it's definitely matured to a point where it's available to any type of customer that will work with their product. So the requirement on the rack side, higher tolerances, that finished product, and ensure when we're installing it, it hits all the key points to drive that project to the finish line.
Yeah, very interesting. And I think it's, there's so many moving parts now in the warehouse. There's much more than box in, box out, right? So
no, 100%.
Yeah. So it's really interesting to hear from your perspective on kind of that steel perspective, and all, how that kind of works into all those different things, and also learning about the sustainability of Nucor from you as well. So I want to thank you for coming by the booth and talking to me here. Really interesting stuff, and I will say, congratulations on the safety thing. I think that's an incredible thing, and I feel like every company should strive to that, and it's great that you guys put it in such high regard. So kudos to you guys for that, definitely. If people want to learn more about Nucor, how can they do that?
Yeah, definitely. You could go to our LinkedIn or just our website, Nucor Warehouse Systems. Appreciate your time, Kevin. This was great.
Yeah.
It's a perfect way to kick off Promat 2023. So now I'm excited. Get ready to hit the trade floor.
Oh, yeah. He's pumped up. All right, man. So thank you so much for coming by the booth, and we'll definitely put more information about Nucor at thenewwarehouse.com as well. So, Daniel, thank you once again.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.